Buckingham Palace shimmered under bright golden lights. The guests' splendid gowns and solemn formal attire made the banquet more magnificent than ever. The air was filled with laughter, the soft clink of glasses, and gentle music drifting through the vast great hall. Everything seemed perfect, a model royal state banquet, until a figure stepped in. Camilla, the current queen, appeared under the dazzling lights wearing the sapphire and diamond tiara long associated with Princess Catherine, once worn at important events. At once, every gaze turned to her. Whispers spread across the hall, and the opulent atmosphere suddenly went taut like a string. In that rare moment, the unthinkable happened. King Charles, standing in the middle of the hall, his face flushed with anger, shouted directly at Camilla. His shout rang out, touching every gilded wall of the palace. Leaving many guests stunned, faces that had been composed now clearly showed shock and astonishment. No eyes left the couple, and public opinion outside would surely erupt when this moment became known. Is this merely a simple misunderstanding over jewelry? Or is Camilla truly calculating to assert power and status before the public? What do you think, accidental or intentional? Join us as we delve into the story, examine every detail and every glance, and explore the far-reaching consequences that moment left for the British royal family in today's video. On September 17th, 2025, Buckingham Palace opened its doors to host a special state banquet, drawing the attention of both the public and international media. The Grand Hall, with its glittering crystal chandeliers, reflected light upon the solemn formal attire of the gentlemen and the elaborate gowns of the ladies, creating an atmosphere both majestic and dazzling. The formal setting was accented by soft music, the gentle clink of wine glasses, polite laughter, and dignified greetings, making every detail seem perfect. This banquet carried profound diplomatic significance. It was an opportunity for the British royal family to reinforce an image of power and elegance before the public, international guests, and the press. Every gesture, every movement, and even each choice of attire was carefully considered, as they reflected not only the individual but also the reputation and strength of the entire monarchy. The banquet embodied a balance between tradition and modernity, between authority and refinement. Every small detail had the potential to send subtle messages, shaping how the public perceived the royal family. Palace staff, from event managers to servers, had prepared meticulously to ensure the evening would unfold flawlessly. Every light, every seating arrangement, every note of music, and every detail of service was arranged to leave a powerful impression on the guests. Buckingham's Grand Hall became a perfect portrait of the monarchy's authority and refinement, ready for diplomatic exchanges, formal greetings, and solemn ceremonies. This banquet stood as a testament to the royal family's ability to maintain dignity, prestige, and sophistication in the eyes of the public and international friends. Everything was nearly flawless, but such perfection also created the ideal stage for the unexpected. The atmosphere at Buckingham Palace that evening, September 17th, 2025, was already charged with grandeur and solemnity. Gigantic chandeliers spread shimmering light, reflected on the formal suits of the gentlemen and the glittering gowns of the ladies. Soft music, polite laughter, and the clink of wine glasses blended into a graceful harmony. The Buckingham Hall looked like a living painting of the monarchy's power and refinement. Everything seemed perfect until Camilla stepped into the hall. Her steps were slow yet proud, her gaze calm yet decisive. Her splendid attire made her the center of attention instantly. Guests' eyes shifted rapidly, all drawn toward Camilla. Whispers began softly but rose quickly, filled with curiosity and surprise. The organizers, who had prepared for weeks, suddenly appeared unsettled. Some servers paused mid-task, while the banquet manager hurriedly observed, seeking ways to steady the atmosphere. The grand setting turned taut as a string, foretelling something unusual about to unfold. At that moment, King Charles appeared at his place. His eyes immediately locked onto Camilla, his brows furrowed, his lips tightened in rare anger. Everyone knew Charles as a calm monarch, a man who mastered his emotions before the public. But now that composure vanished. He stepped closer, his voice loud and commanding. "Who gave you permission to wear that? It is not for you. Change it at once, or leave and do not appear here." The king's voice thundered through the hall, silencing the music, the laughter, and the whispers. Every eye turned to Charles and Camilla, feeling the rare weight of his fury. The atmosphere of grandeur instantly tightened like a drawn bowstring. Guests were left bewildered, unsure how to respond. Some lowered their heads, striving to maintain respect. Others stayed silent, watching. The organizers struggled to restore order, but clearly the situation had spun beyond control. Servers moved discreetly, trying to shield the moment, but every gaze betrayed the extreme tension in the hall. In another corner, Prince William stood watching. His eyes betrayed anger, disappointment, and frustration. He respected his father, yet he felt deeply unsettled by his stepmother's actions. Though his gestures tried to maintain calm, his body was tense like a drawn string, and his gaze fixed on Camilla revealed emotions he could not conceal. At moments, William clenched his teeth, his brows furrowing, making it clear to everyone how strained the royal family truly was. Camilla stood upright, forcing a smile, yet her eyes clearly reflected the king's rebuke. Her composure seemed to resist the pressure pressing in from every side. But each passing second in the great hall emphasized that her presence was now the center of controversy, holding everyone's gaze, whether they wished it or not. Some guests whispered under their breath, "Unbelievable. My God, did King Charles truly lose his temper like that?" The organizers' discomfort, combined with the guests' curious stares, only heightened the drama. Everything unfolded in minutes, yet it felt like hours. Every second heavy with suffocating tension. Charles lowered his voice, but the authority remained. As he stressed, "This is not the place for you to assert power or presence. Remember your position and respect everyone here." His words struck, causing Camilla to falter slightly, while every eye followed her next reaction. The great hall, once filled with grandeur and splendor, had turned into the very heart of a storm. All guests could feel it. In that moment, every glance, every sound, and every gesture centered on Camilla and Charles's rare public clash. From the organizers' unease, William's burning eyes, to Camilla's struggle to remain composed, it all created a dramatic, unforgettable scene. Why did Charles react so fiercely? And who truly bore the deepest wound in this story? The sapphire and diamond tiara, now one of the most treasured pieces in the British royal collection, is far more than a dazzling ornament. It carries deep history and unique symbolic weight. Its origins trace back decades, when the royal family carefully selected priceless jewels for significant events, showcasing both power and refined elegance before the public and international guests. At first, the tiara belonged to Princess Diana, who wore it at countless state and diplomatic occasions, from international banquets to national ceremonies. For Diana, it was never just jewelry. She transformed it into a personal emblem, representing grace, soft power, and her special position within the monarchy. To the public, Diana and the tiara became inseparable, a portrait of a woman both regal and relatable, both powerful and profoundly human. After Catherine, the Princess of Wales, inherited the tiara, the piece once again became a symbol of legitimate power and authority. With her elegance, intelligence, and composure, Catherine revived the tiara's symbolic value, turning it into more than a magnificent ornament. It became the emblem of a future queen in the eyes of the public and the media. Each time she appeared with the tiara on her head, Catherine sent a clear message of authority and rightful stature, while also reinforcing the royal family's image before the world. For the public, the tiara linked with Catherine became a form of identity, a visual symbol of her position within the monarchy. Photographs and videos from diplomatic events and official ceremonies always drew special attention when Catherine wore it. And in those moments, the public felt the weight of solemnity, authority, and grace. The tiara became an object representing the fusion of power and refinement, a symbolic tool both official and emotional, evoking the image of a model future queen. The tiara's significance was never limited to its material worth. Its spiritual and symbolic value made it truly important. In the royal world, every item carries a message, and with this tiara, the message was unmistakable. It represented acknowledged authority, respected dignity, and the official status within the royal structure. It stood as proof of the monarchy's and the public's choice of who would inherit, who would carry the royal image before the world, and who would embody the elegance, power, and prestige of the reigning dynasty. Every detail, from the deep sapphires to the sparkling diamonds, told a long story of history, power, and succession. Diana left her mark. Catherine inherited and reinforced it, turning the tiara into a living symbol, an instantly recognizable sign of royal authority and poise. Each time the public saw it, they perceived not just a jewel, but the history, tradition, and symbolic values of the British monarchy. That is why, when another figure, Camilla, wore the tiara long associated with Diana and Catherine, public attention spiked immediately. The tiara was no longer just jewelry, it became a symbolic message, sparking questions about power, status, and the complex relationships within the royal family. Every glance, every comment, from the public, the press, or other royals, focused on the meaning and message that the tiara conveyed. So, when Camilla wore it, what did that mean? Was it mere coincidence, or a deliberate signal sent to both the royal household and the public? Camilla's decision to wear the sapphire and diamond tiara tied to Catherine was not just a moment of controversy at the banquet. It also had profound effects on Catherine herself, both mentally and physically. In recent years, Catherine's health has often been described as fragile, especially under the increasing weight of royal duties and responsibilities. Watching her stepmother enter the hall wearing the tiara so closely linked to her own image struck a painful chord. Known for her careful public appearances, Catherine now felt her presence openly challenged and competed with. The sense of being threatened, disregarded, even replaced, pierced her heart and reignited long-simmering tensions within the royal family. It was not only Catherine who was affected. Prince William, too, could not conceal his anger and disappointment. His eyes fixed on Camilla as she wore the tiara, as if to declare that this was a direct insult to his wife. William, a son who had always respected royal tradition and the family's standing, felt that this violation of his wife's subtle authority was intolerable. His anger stemmed not only from personal pride, but also from his determination to protect Catherine's image, dignity, and position before the public and within the royal household. For the public, the incident only amplified Catherine's image as a figure doubly wounded. First, in terms of health, her vulnerability was struck at a formal event where every gesture was scrutinized. Second, in terms of honor and prestige, her stepmother's appearance in the symbolic tiara felt like a public challenge, making Catherine the center of public sympathy. Every headline, every social media comment underlined that Catherine was enduring an intense trial, where her power and symbol were under threat, forcing her to face emotional challenges beyond measure. Catherine's feelings in that moment were a blend of sadness, disappointment, and helplessness. She was known for her resilience and composure in public, but seeing Camilla wear the tiara that embodied her own symbol of power inflicted deep wounds. The Grand Hall, meant to honor the monarchy, became a stage for tangled emotions, Catherine struggling to restrain her pain while maintaining composure, ensuring her image remained intact in the eyes of the guests and the public. William, meanwhile, stood in a dilemma, defending his wife while showing deference to his father. The fury in his eyes made it clear to all around him that the family's unity was under strain, and that long-simmering tensions between members of the royal household had reignited in this instant. His love for Catherine made silence impossible, yet his role as prince forced him to balance rage with decorum, creating an inner struggle that was both tormenting and powerful. The consequences of this moment rippled outward into the public sphere. Catherine came to be seen as a symbol of both strength and sensitivity, a woman bearing pressures physical, emotional, and positional within the monarchy. International media analyses stress that, while Camilla may not have grasped the full impact of her actions, Catherine bore the weight of every gaze, every judgment, every public reaction. Each of her appearances after the event was framed as those of a woman tested, one who preserved dignity and prestige, while reinforcing her image as a princess of resilience and responsibility. Meanwhile, William continued to wrestle with inner conflict, torn between defending his wife and respecting his father, between personal outrage and royal duty. His eyes, though striving for calm, still glimmered with tension, making it clear to those around him that a private battle was unfolding in the very heart of Buckingham's Grand Hall. This tension was not merely personal emotion. It reflected the complex, delicate relationships within the monarchy, where every action and decision carried symbolic weight and lasting consequences. The moment Camilla wore the tiara was not just a personal choice, it became a symbol of the deeper tensions, conflicts, and complicated ties inside the British royal family. Catherine and William, though showing their feelings differently, both faced profound emotional repercussions, where health, dignity, and reputation all hung in the balance. The public watched closely, sensing the pain and pressure they endured, and their sympathy for Catherine deepened. She was not only challenged in status, but also confronted with the strain on her well-being. But if we turn the question around, was Camilla truly intentional? Or was this simply a misjudgment in choosing her jewelry? The sapphire and diamond tiara, once so closely tied to Catherine, suddenly became the focal point of speculation over Camilla's motives. When she appeared at the state banquet on September 17th, 2025, wearing this jewel, the public immediately spun multiple theories, from sheer accident to calculated move, or even a deliberate test of the royal family's reactions. The first possibility, accident. It cannot be ruled out that Camilla had no intention of sparking controversy. As someone who frequently attends royal events, she must often select jewelry to match her attire. The theme and the level of formality. The sapphire and diamond tiara, dazzling and in harmony with her gown, may simply have been an aesthetic choice. Amid the pressures of preparation and the relentless scrutiny of the media, Camilla might not have fully grasped the tiara's historical and symbolic weight. Wearing it could have been a completely unintended spark that ignited controversy. However, considering Camilla's past behavior, many royal experts and observers argue she is not one to easily pass up chances to assert authority. This raises the second possibility, calculation. Already queen consort, Camilla might have sought to reinforce her stature before the public and within the royal household, particularly against Catherine, the widely viewed future queen. The motive would not only lie in personal power, but also in long-term strategy, creating symbolic imprints that highlight her undeniable presence in the monarchy. Wearing a tiara of such historical importance, once belonging to Diana and Catherine, could be interpreted as a deliberate message. Camilla would not be overshadowed, and she could command control over the monarchy's most potent symbols. The third possibility, equally intriguing, is testing. Camilla may have been gauging Catherine's standing in the eyes of the public and observing the royal family's responses, especially William's. Wearing the tiara not only created a moment of dispute, but also allowed Camilla to measure Catherine's sensitivity and resilience, information she could use to adjust her own behavior and position within the monarchy's intricate web of relationships. History also shows that Camilla has often been accused of overstepping in her royal role. Experts recall past occasions where her choice of attire, jewelry, or even manner of conduct at banquets and ceremonies was judged as inappropriate or too attention-seeking. In some cases, Camilla faced criticism from the press and the public for appearing to steal the spotlight, even surpassing the traditional boundaries of a queen consort. These incidents provide context for understanding the likelihood that her decision to wear the tiara at the recent state banquet carried deliberate intent. What is striking is that every move Camilla makes is tracked and analyzed in detail, From her eyes and smile to the way she walks through the Great Hall. Wearing the tiara, with its immense symbolic weight, created a moment where every detail was scrutinized. The public questioned all her motive. The media captured the scene, and members of the royal family reacted immediately. Her past actions demonstrate that she has leveraged royal symbols before to consolidate her standing, making it impossible to dismiss the possibility of calculation. However, it must also be stressed that Camilla is fully aware of the constant watch of public scrutiny, and she is often careful in her behavior. For this reason, it cannot be ruled out that this event was a blend of accident and testing, where her initial intent may simply have been to select suitable jewelry, but the symbolic impact far exceeded her expectations. The moment thus became a layered story of power, strategy, and psychology within the monarchy, where every action is dissected, interpreted, and questioned for deeper motive. Ultimately, whatever Camilla's true intention, the instant the tiara was placed upon her head, it became a powerful symbol forcing the public, the media, and even royal members to reevaluate dynamics of authority, personal standing, and emotional impact inside the palace. The tiara was no longer just an ornament. It became a measuring tool for power, prestige, and sensitivity within the monarchy. The truth may forever remain behind palace doors, but public debate has never stopped. The very moment Camilla appeared wearing the sapphire and diamond tiara once associated with Catherine, British and international media seized the story. Major outlets such as The Times, The Guardian, and Daily Mail wasted no opportunity to analyze every detail. From Camilla's eyes and smile to her positioning within the hall, the story quickly ignited as a headline topic on television broadcasts and online news platforms, with a flood of articles reflecting the divided opinions of the public. Some newspapers chose to defend Camilla, stressing that she is the current queen and that wearing the tiara was purely an aesthetic decision, not an attempt to provoke or undermine Catherine's authority. These pieces argued that, as a member of the monarchy, Camilla constantly endures pressure and relentless scrutiny, and she has every right to appear with jewelry that matches her gown and the solemnity of the occasion. On the other side, critics declared it an insult to Catherine, stressing that the tiara was not merely an ornament, but a profound symbol of power and legitimacy. Camilla's choice to wear it at the state banquet was perceived as an act of overshadowing the image of the future queen, fueling outrage and raising sharp questions about her true motives. These articles argued that, whether intentional or not, Camilla's action inflicted a double wound on Catherine, striking at both her dignity and her emotions. On social media, the reaction was swift and intense. Hashtags tied to Catherine and Camilla spread rapidly, ranging from sympathetic messages for Catherine to heated debates about power and hierarchy within the monarchy. Many emphasized that this was not just a personal moment, but a symbol of the deep-seated tensions within the palace. Clips, photos, and online commentary were shared hundreds of thousands of times, transforming the incident from a fleeting banquet scene into a fiercely debated international story. The backlash did not remain confined to the public. Royal experts, veteran journalists, and television commentators quickly dissected every angle, questioning the relationship between Camilla and Catherine, William's role, and how each member of the royal family would recalibrate their image in the public eye. Analyses highlighted that in the digital era, even the smallest action can spiral into a full-blown image crisis, and Camilla's wearing of the tiara was a textbook example. Thanks to the reach of both press and social media, the incident was no longer just an internal banquet matter within Buckingham Palace. It escalated into a public relations crisis, forcing the monarchy to confront mounting pressure while leaving unanswered questions about power, symbolism, and family dynamics. And so, it was the public's reaction that elevated the matter beyond a dinner scandal, turning it into a full-scale image crisis. Camilla's decision to wear the tiara once belonging to Catherine not only stirred controversy in the moment, but also left lasting consequences inside the royal household, deepening the fractures between Charles, William, and Camilla. In recent years, the relationship between William and his father has carried simmering disagreements, particularly around the monarchy's handling of media, public image, In Camilla's role, the state banquet became the breaking point where anger, disappointment, and fear surfaced openly, widening the rift among the royals. For William, who has long shouldered the duty of safeguarding his wife's image and dignity, seeing his stepmother appear in the symbolic tiara tested his patience and trust. The tension extended beyond Charles's public outburst. It reshaped how William perceived Camilla and challenged how he balanced his loyalty to both father and wife. Camilla, though striving to maintain composure, now faced new pressure: how to strengthen her own position without worsening family fractures, a nearly impossible task under such delicate circumstances. Meanwhile, Catherine became the center of public sympathy and compassion. The incident not only highlighted her sensitivity, but also reinforced her image as a woman beloved by the people, resilient, graceful, and worthy of respect. The public saw that she was not merely wounded in personal pride, but also burdened by immense emotional pressure. This wave of empathy strengthened Catherine's standing even further in the eyes of society. The event also raised doubts about Charles's ability to maintain balance. Known as a monarch who strives to project calm, this scandal made many wonder, can Charles truly keep harmony between family and public duty, between power and affection, when internal fractures are laid bare so openly? The tense moments in Buckingham's Great Hall, combined with William's reaction and the public's outcry, revealed that even a king cannot always control the symbolic and emotional storms within the royal household. Looking back at the entire sequence, it becomes clear that the tiara was never just a luxurious jewel. It was the spark that ignited a chain of deeper conflicts, shaking family relationships, public image, and the monarchy's grip on symbolic authority. It is a reminder that inside the palace, every action and every symbol can trigger long-lasting consequences, turning what seems a small incident into a full-scale crisis of image and spirit. And so, the tiara was not simply jewelry, it became the fuse of a greater storm. The moment Camilla entered the state banquet on September 17th, 2025, wearing the sapphire and diamond tiara once belonging to Catherine, she instantly became the focus of every gaze. The Buckingham Hall, dazzling with light and filled with the sound of formal conversation, suddenly grew tense to the point of suffocation. Every eye turned toward her. Whispers spread like a warning of the storm about to erupt. Just seconds later, King Charles, long regarded as calm and measured, shouted directly at Camilla, "Who gave you permission to wear this? It is not yours. Change it now, or leave this hall and do not return." His furious outburst not only left guests bewildered, but also unleashed a wave of tension within the family. Prince William, silently watching his stepmother, glared with fury, making it clear he saw the act as an insult not only to his wife, but also to the dignity of the family itself. Catherine, already in fragile health, was deeply wounded both emotionally and in honor, intensifying the public's empathy toward her. The media, both British and international, immediately seized every angle. Newspapers split into factions. Some defended Camilla's right to choose her jewelry. Others condemned it as a humiliation of Catherine, an attempt to overshadow the future queen. On social media, hashtags spread at lightning speed, sparking thousands of comments and fierce debates, turning a single moment in a banquet into a full-blown international image crisis. Inside the royal household, the long-term consequences were equally serious. The already tense relationship between Charles, William, and Camilla fractured further, with emotional distance laid bare. Catherine emerged as the focus of public sympathy, her image solidified as the people's princess, resilient yet sensitive. Even Charles himself was forced to face the question, can he still balance family and public duty, power and affection, as the monarchy's internal divisions grow ever more visible? The tiara, once thought just a splendid jewel, had become a powerful emblem of power, honor, and even tragedy within the royal household. It symbolized not only authority but also the subtle conflicts, hidden calculations, and misunderstandings that could shake a dynasty. Every decision tied to the tiara would now be scrutinized, and its consequences would echo far beyond the moment it first appeared. And when we trace the chain of events, from Camilla donning the tiara, Charles's outburst, Catherine's anguish, to the eruption of public opinion, it is clear that an object without a voice had become the spark for a storm of conflict inside the British monarchy. So the question remains, was this merely a misunderstanding? Or was Camilla deliberately asserting her position? And if the latter is true, what further storms will the British royal family have to endure? What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.